Hey everybody, welcome back to day number 2 of the Widowmaker tournament. Right now we're going to showcase again some of the new track pieces that we've implemented into our races, including the new start gate, the new finish line, and how the Slanman Customs are the ones that helped make that happen, and how you yourself can get a lot of different track pieces for your own races if you want to make your own tracks, have your own tournaments. They have a wide variety of options for you to choose from. No matter what you need, whether it be a small piece, a large piece, straight piece, curved piece, various obstacles, ramps, turns, straights, multiple lanes, or lane mergers, or what have you, Slanman Customs has you covered. You can also add some accessories or whatever you would like to keep your racetrack looking alive. Go to slanmancustoms.com for more information. You can also look at their Facebook page, their Instagram page, and so much more. Check out their stuff and see what you can find. All the links will be in the description. We also want to remind you that we're having another custom mail-in tournament in the future, so if you want to participate or at least want to learn how, check out the Facebook page for more information. And now, day 2 of the Widowmaker tournament shall begin. The first group for today includes the What42, the Ford Shelby, Honda Civic, and the Nissan Titan. I believe we had a Ford Shelby in day 1, so we already have a repeat it seems. And that Nissan Titan seems to be pretty low to the ground. I'm surprised that vehicle is not somehow scraping along the track the entire time they're going, and for whatever reason, that design may actually be helping them because they are out in front, and they have a decent sized lead. So far they are struggling to keep straight. They are bouncing off the walls, fishtailing a little bit, and the other racers are trying to catch up, and it looks like they are. Here comes the Ford Shelby trying to pass them around that turn, and as they get to the massive bump, so far the Nissan Titan actually holds on to the lead. They don't have the fastest time, not even close. Right now, the fastest time is held by the Mitsubishi Eclipse, who did move on to the Grand Finals in the last video. Yeah, if you finish above 20 seconds, it seems, in this tournament, you're in trouble in the future, even if you do win. But for now, Nissan Titan does have the lead in points. And they are starting in the back this time, but look at this, they're already managing to get towards second place at least, and they did manage to grab it. So even if you do start in the back, you still have a good chance around that first turn to make something happen to give you an advantage. And right now they are blocking the other two while they're trying to catch up to the Ford Shelby. Before it was the Ford Shelby trying to catch up to him, but now it's the other way around, and the gap is being closed, and the Nissan Titan manages to grab the lead. They go over the massive hill, and he holds on to that lead, staying in first. Of all the racers in this group, this was not the one I expected to do well, at least compared to the other racers around them. But I guess the way that car's designed, especially going over that hill, they might have an advantage I didn't think of initially. Because sometimes going airborne could look cool, but it might also slow you down after you land. So if you can stay relatively close to the track itself, that may actually help you overall. And right now, total points in terms of position could actually be better than style points. If you can manage both, then good for you, but I personally would not risk it. I'm not that good of a driver. But right now the Ford Shelby is out in front. The What42 is actually on his tail this time, while the Honda Civic and the Nissan Titan are fighting for third. The Ford Shelby actually started grinding along the rail for a second as they went around the turn, but they managed to correct themselves and are staying straight, and they are currently blocking What42 from passing them. They are struggling a little bit, and the What42 manages to pass them after going over that hill. And the Honda Civic manages to finish in third, so the Nissan Titan streak is cut short already. So far, I don't think anybody's gotten the fastest time yet from Mitsubishi Eclipse. They were kind of going diagonal over that hill there. The Nissan Titan, while they managed to stay on the surface of the track, they were already far enough behind that it just did not matter. So now things have gotten a little bit more interesting, given that the first place person finished in last that time. Into heat number 4, let's look at the point totals again. Honda Civic only has 4, Nissan Titan has 11. What 42 now has 10, and the Ford Shelby has 8. The What 42 seems to have been biding his time until now, and now they do have the lead. The Nissan Titan is trying to keep up with him, bumping him forward a little bit, trying to spin him around, so far unsuccessful. And the What 42 did have the lead until the Nissan Titan found a way to pass him through an opening. And now the What 42 is trying to do the same, so far is unable to. And to get around that last turn before the hill, the Nissan Titan goes up and back down without much of an issue. And the What 42 spins around, goes sideways, loses so much speed. Will anyone be able to pass him? It looked like the Ford Shelby did, but the Honda Civic lost enough speed to the point where they didn't finish at all. Not the way you want to go out, to be certain. Well, I think it'll be the Nissan Titan and the What 42 moving on, but we'll have to double check the scores. Look at this, he was doing so well and then he stopped completely, and it took so long for the other racers to get there. And the What 42 was not happy, so he used his position to stop Honda Civic from finishing, and it will be the What 42 joining the Nissan Titan in the finals. In the second group we have the Bully Goat, the Ford Mustang, the 59 Firebird, and the Honda Sprocket. The Sprocket is not a type of vehicle I'm personally too familiar with, but I'm also not a big car person in terms of how knowledgeable I am. So maybe it's a relatively new one, maybe it's not. I don't know. For now though, it's the Firebird out in front, and I think not too long ago we had a Firebird win a tournament, and they had some funky design on the side too. But right now they are in the lead. The other 3 are fighting for second place way back there. And the Firebird actually flips over as they go around that last turn. I was at a loss for words for a second, and we actually have 2 people upside down. One of them manages to finish in first, and the other, who was in the lead for the most part, flipped over before they even got to the last hill. Somehow, going around that last turn before the hill, they flipped themselves over, and they still had enough speed to get up to the top of the hill, but they needed a push forward to keep going, but even then it wasn't enough. I feel like it's going to be extremely rare, for people to stop on that big hill, but we just showed that it's definitely possible, to say the least. But that time we only had 2 finishers, so it's definitely going to be helpful for them. Into heat number 2, the Firebird and the Ford Mustang start in the first 2 positions, but the Firebird is quickly losing that advantage, and now they're already in third as the Ford Mustang and the Bully Goat. Actually, no, that's the Honda Sprocket. What am I talking about? They are the 2 out in front, and the Honda Sprocket is trying to hold the lead, but they almost lose it, and they do now. Now it's the Ford Mustang out in front. The Honda Sprocket is trying to chase him back down as they get around that last turn before the hill. And they go up the hill. Both of them stay relatively on their feet, but the Honda Sprocket did do a little bit of bouncing, preventing any chance from getting in third. And now we have another person who stopped short while going upside down. And it looks like the Firebird, while finishing up that upside down, at least managed to finish that time. They did manage to stay on their wheels before they got to the finish line, so that definitely helped them. But yeah, that hill is going to be a big game changer for a lot of racers. The Firebird could have nudged him forward and almost did, but he managed to work around him and finish in third. So far, the way these points have been sorted out, it could still be anybody's game. Because right now, the most points anyone has is the Honda Sprocket with 6, finishing in second both times. And sometimes that's all you need, even if you don't finish in first ever. If you're more consistent than anybody else, that could still give you the edge you need in order to move on. Well, right now, it is really anybody's game, and right now Ford Mustang is back out in front. So far, no one even close to them. As they go up the hill and back down, they went airborne, but they managed to get back on their wheels, and they almost lost control near the end, but they had enough momentum going forward to be able to finish in first. Meanwhile, the Honda Sprocket does finish in second yet again, so props to them for consistency at least. And once again, the Firebird ended up on their backs. I think the driver of the Firebird might have had a little too much to drink, because it's like no matter how much they do, no matter how much racing they do, no matter how well they start, somehow, at least half the time, they end up on their backs. And this time, they somehow managed to do that much further up the track. They might have to check them for what's in their system, because if they drank too much, that could affect how they have been driving in this race so far. The Firebird has not finished twice. They are pretty much out at this point. But in terms of points, I think the Sprocket is now actually in second. But the fact is, they've been consistent so far. If they can stay that way, they will still move on regardless of the fact that they haven't finished in first yet. So far, everybody is out in front. I'm not sure what happened to the Firebird. They started off so well, and then they just fell apart, and it looks like the Bully Goat also ended up upside down this time. And now the Firebird is trying to make something happen, taking advantage of that situation, but I don't think it's going to be enough, regardless of what happens. The Sprocket now ends up on their back. They tried to finish. I think that's going to count. I'm not entirely sure. But is anyone else going to finish? Here comes the Firebird. And if the Sprocket wasn't going to finish before, they certainly will now. But as you saw, the Bully Goat, as they started going down that hill, that slope rather, they somehow wound up on their back and they will not finish. I feel like we're going to see a lot of people ending up on their backs, at least somewhere on the track, most likely after they go over that hill. But look, it took so long for the Firebird to get there, which is surprising. They seemed promising near the beginning, but they just lost all that after they didn't finish. I don't think anybody has been able to take the fastest time so far. But as long as they move on, they will have more opportunities later. And the ones moving on will be the Ford Mustang and the Honda Sprocket. Again, consistency can sometimes trump finishing in first, as long as they don't finish in first every time. But here we go into today's finals, which has the What42, the Nissan Titan, the Ford Mustang, and the Honda Sprocket. So far, the surprise racer to me is the Nissan Titan, because it just seems like they're so low to the ground that they would lose so much momentum, because it looks to me like they should be scraping off the surface of the track the entire time. But here they are out in front yet again. But now all four racers are staying relatively close together. So it could still be anybody's game. The Honda Sprocket is trying to find his way around the Nissan Titan. Something could happen as they go around this hill, and the Sprocket gets flipped over, and the Nissan Titan takes off and takes the win. And What42 barely finishes, while the Sprocket, having consistency up until now, does not finish in the first race of the finals for today. A massive blow to their streak. But sometimes that hill will give somebody further behind exactly what they need in order to up their chances. And that's exactly what happened here. So far, the Nissan Titan does have the first place finish. So far, we've had no undefeated racers. We've gotten one or two that were close, but close does not get the job done. Right now in this second race, it is the What42 and the Honda Sprocket out in front. And they take full advantage of that, and they try to expand their lead. So far, they're kind of chasing after each other a little bit. And the What42 is trying to make something happen, but so far, that gap seems to be gradually widening. And the Sprocket is trying to make up for lost time and position from before. And they're approaching the hill. Can they stay on their feet this time? They almost didn't, but they managed to flip themselves back over, get back on their wheels, and finish in first. If you can get style points and the lead points, props to you. And that's exactly what the Honda Sprocket did, and that's exactly what they needed. They needed a first place finish. The other three managed to stay on their feet, I believe, not even flipping over to begin with. And the Nissan Titan finished in fourth that time. I'm telling you, some of these track elements can really shake things up later on down in the tournament. And so far, despite finishing in last, the Nissan Titan still does have the lead. But the Honda Sprocket, finishing in first that time, already gets up into second. Tied with the Ford. Actually, now that I look at it more, the Nissan Titan does have the lead with 6, but everyone else is right behind him with 5. This is still very much anybody's game, and now the Ford Mustang is out in front. And who's behind him? It looks like it's the Honda Sprocket, trying to stay on his wheels. It looked like he was shaking a little bit. The Ford Mustang goes into the final turn, now approaching the hill. They manage to keep from going airborne too much, and they take the win. And who finishes in second? It's the Sprocket. And the Nissan Titan rocketed into the finish line, but they still only finished in third. And not too much air there. Honda Sprocket got a little bit kind of grinded over the railing there for a moment. And the Watt 4.2 was bouncing around like a bouncy ball. And the Ford Mustang finished with a 17.5. Still not quite the fastest time we've had. I think only one racer has been able to break that 17-second mark, and that was the Mitsubishi Eclipse. Here we go, the final race for today. So far, I believe the one out in front in points is the Ford Mustang with 10. The Nissan Titan currently has 8, along with the Honda Sprocket actually, and the Watt 4.2 only has 6. The Watt 4.2 has some major work to do if they want to keep in this tournament. But right now, it's the Honda Sprocket and the Nissan Titan fighting for second place, so whoever finishes in front of the other could be the one moving on. And the Ford Mustang, despite getting so much air, easily managed to correct themselves, or rather stabilize themselves, I should say, and they finished in first. The Watt 4.2 does finish in second. I'm not sure it's going to be enough, though. And the Nissan Titan finishes in third, and the Sprocket in fourth. So if the Watt 4.2 does not finish, or does not move on, despite a second place finish, it looks like the Nissan Titan will be moving on. Definitely a surprise. We will definitely check the points again in a moment. Yeah, they definitely kept stable over that hill for the most part. And it looks like we have our new fastest time. A 16.7656 by the Ford Mustang. The record has been broken, and now we have a new leader. Yep, it will be the Nissan Titan moving on. The other racers got very close. But again, close doesn't get the job done. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you for day number 3.